Take a nice deep breath, breathe into your heart. You know that when you keep breathing, you can't think. That means you can't terrorize yourself with the mind. And then when you do use thoughts and words, you're conscious of what you're doing and what you're manifesting and producing into the world. That's how it goes. So, my topic, dump the guilt machine. This guilt machine is working on overtime. And here's what we do. Okay, there's one main game that everybody's been playing because we've been taught to play this, and because it's good business for some people to play this game, because it's how they control other people and keep themselves in line. And it's the game of the victim. Who's the victim? They did it to me. They abused me. They hurt me. And now, who's they? They then are the perpetrator. They did it to me. And then, dun, 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 comes the savior. And I will save you from me. Because the victim, the perpetrator, and the savior are the same people. And when we get in that guilt machine and it operates, it's those people who are the victims, perennial victims, always, whining and complaining, because it makes them money. It gives them power. And you can't judge or criticize the poor victim because they've been victimized so much over and over and over. Me and my people and my stuff and who I am, poor me. But then they can become the perpetrator because they're justified. Because of what they've done to me, I will destroy them. And then I will save me and my people. And I will... It goes on. What are all the movies of it? Victim, perpetrator, savior, do, 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 do. It just keeps on and on and on. And it's promoted through literature. Oh, people get upset. How could... Yeah, I said, Shakespeare, just a group of people to do predictive programming on how people are. This is how people are? Well, because we tend to copy others. We tend to fall in line and be the way they were because we're trying to figure it out and how to get along. So we're learning from other people who we are and what we're supposed to do and how we're supposed to be. And the crazier those people are, the more deluded those people are, the more deluded become their children. The more people are abusing themselves, the more they abuse others. And one of the greatest things to have to get over is self-abuse, self-hatred. Feeling so guilty for everything that you've ever done. Look at all the stuff we were taught. Does it's just okay. It's okay to have abortions all the time. Yeah, it's just have abortions all the time. But I know, but yeah. I mean, there's cases. Yeah, I'm not saying whatever, but I'm saying, how about teaching young people the sacredness of their physical body, and that when you have male and female, that's for producing children, and then they find some way to do that in a laboratory, and you make a lab, child. And then you could put a whole bunch of DNA and different... You could take it from demons of the past because you could just go find their DNA, couldn't you? Put them into somebody. Because you wonder, how can some people be so mean? Maybe it's lifetime after lifetime of falling into ignorance and abuse and trauma and more and more and more. And it'll split that person away from their true divine self. So this guilt machine, and then that guilt machine comes in that you didn't do that right. I think of all the mistakes I made with my children in raising the children. And I'm so glad I was a stay-at-home mom for most of the time until they got a little bit older. And that's where the mom needs to be, is to take care of the children and the dad. Because, well, that's not normal anymore. We don't do that. We just have them. Well, you miss the joy. And what about those little people that come into our lives, you see, to what we're supposed to be? So this guilt machine, how we can start to quit the guilt machine is start to look at our programming, our conditioning, what we were told, what we were taught, what we were taught by these so-called authors and these so-called experts that got all the press and all the media and all of the educational systems in school. If a school, a sex education wasn't sex education, it was education about how your body functions. And how, if you want to have a healthy child, you want to have a healthy body. And if you want to have a healthy, happy child, you want that child be conceived in love, not in lust or abuse, because in having no idea of what's going to happen then to produce a child. We were all caught up in this. We've all been victims of this. And what really saves us is knowledge of who we are. The real savior is the knowledge of what's really possible for us, and also how to cleanse ourselves of all of that old conditioning and programming that we've been carrying lifetime after lifetime, when it's really just us changing our costume, but yet still with that taking the subtle mind with us. That's why I teach from the Vedas. Great knowledge. The Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, these great knowledge. And also from the Essenes and Yeshua and the real teaching that he had to give us, Jesus. And also the teachings of metaphysics. Because metaphysics are just telling you how this world operates. It doesn't tell you anything about you, but it tells you how this world operates, how it was set up in the mind, that programming. Okay? And then when you have knowledge, you're not run by guilt. You're not run by shame. You're not run by, oh, I'm not good enough. Others are better than I am. Sibling competition. That's huge. People are doing. Families hating each other and fighting and jealousy and envy. And how you can tell if your mind has been taken over, in a sense, is you have envy. The person has envy. Because when a person doesn't know who they are, they have envy and jealousy for everybody else because they don't know who they are and what's possible for them. All things are possible for you. Okay? So what does that take? That takes study. I've studied for years and years and years because I started to look. I'd study something and I'd take up stuff that came. I remember in the 70s we had this course and that course and this channeling and this deal and that deal, and everybody's, oh boy, what's this? But there's a bunch of bogus stuff. Because real stuff has always been there, the real teaching. But then we go along to get along, and then we know all the words, and we got our little group, and we have our little meetings, and we're going to be all closed-minded. But ancient wisdom is far more powerful than so-called New Age wisdom, because most of that's just is manufactured. It doesn't come from observation and witnessing and inner meditation and the knowing and observation of how life really is. You are life. That's who you are. And knowledge is power. And when you have knowledge of who you are, you're not run by guilt and fear anymore. And that's what I offer. And I have that. I do mentoring, whatever you want, your career, your life's work. Absolutely. And so that needs to be successful for you because you have greatness to offer people. You have talents and abilities that people need to have. But you have to know who you are and to be who you are and then know how this world works. And you have to be able to discern truth from false because lies are out there everywhere. And lies persist and keep causing trouble because people aren't telling the truth about it, that it's a lie. It's like that whole story, the emperor who was naked, And everybody says, yeah, but everybody's going along with it because everybody says, oh, look at his beautiful clothes, but he's naked. A little kid says, but he's naked. Yeah, he's naked. But because this is the way people tend to be, yeah. And then they'll take little bits of knowledge that they get to try and put it all together and to try and fit in these roles that we're playing. And so the key is then to do your work. And it's intense work to undo those curses that you've been living under, that you curse yourself and abuse yourself. And what people do this, we're all set up to police ourselves, abuse ourselves, and kill ourselves. Absolutely. Because you're no good. And now you're white, we got to get rid of you. And then the black, because they got rid of that, we got to get rid of the brown. What is this? Black, what is it? This is like a shoe convention where everybody's just concerned about skin. Oh, really? And when you get to even animals, people don't, they have feelings. They love their children. They care. They're compassionate. They're like us. The honest, greatest thing we could do is to begin then to be a vegetarian. To stop, and people say, well, how can I get rid of fear? The only way the people of the world will get rid of fear is right today, every person become a vegetarian. Everybody, just do it now. Well, I can't. Why? Your tongue? You can't do it? Well, I have to have red meat because my doctor says it. Really? What a creep. Yeah. Takes a lot to try and take your life back. And I'm so proud of my daughter Rebecca, homeschooling my granddaughters up to college. Brilliant girls, wonderful. Yes. I know. I'm on it. But what I want is because I know what I've got. I know who you are. I know what's possible. That's what I teach. That's what I share and work with you to dump these curses. You're stopping yourself. There's programs there, hypnotic trances deep within, and that how that mind operates and how that mind is defeating you. Because you know, if a person doesn't even know how it's working, they're just believing their thoughts. They're giving words the privilege to dictate to them who they are and what their life is about, what's possible, what isn't possible. These are just sounds and letters on a piece of paper. Squiggles with a number, the so-called means something, and programmed on a deep subliminal level so that everybody's in on it. You got to step outside the parade, my dear. You got to get outside of it to begin to take your power back. And you know who you are. Yes. And it takes an investment that you care enough about yourself. That's what it's real. It's not self-love. I love Terry. Oh, I love Terry. I look in the mirror every day. Oh, I love Terry. That's stupid. No, I am love. And what are people doing? They're killing their love to prove that somebody hurt them. The guilt machine. The perpetrator machine. You've got to stop it all right now. And when you do that, and you take a stand, and you get the knowledge that I have to share with you, because I've researched all these places, I know exactly what I'm talking about. And when I share that with you, and you know you've then got it with you, you can attain whatever you desire or want or are called for, because all is possible for you. Get that stinking thinking out of your mind, and the source of it that has been taking your energy and your life force, and dump it. And when you dump it, it's like just like a big load. You just get rid of it. Whew. And all of a sudden you wake up from a nightmare, and you're no longer asleep, but you are conscious, awake, aware, and living in bliss. And bliss is just you not thinking. And yet established in yourself, and then consciously when you think, or consciously when you speak, consciously what you're doing, your what would you say? Your world is beautiful because you're beautiful. Be you to the full. Hope to see you soon.